Hello. Good morning. Good early afternoon. How are you guys doing today? It's weird that when I start my videos, I'm sing-songy in my speech. When in real life, I'm not sing-songy at all. I gotta find a way I want to start my videos without having to be sing-songy. But anyway, so I have been doing this podcasting thing, being on different panels for the last few months. And watching YouTube more since I'm on these panels because I be needing to get different points of view. Before joining these panels, I didn't really look at other people's point of view or try to blanket statement things or try to explain away things. I just looked at my own life and moved according to what I felt was best. Okay, but being on these panels and looking at YouTube, what I'm noticing is a lot of blame. A lot of blame coming from men and women, blaming women for the condition of today's children, blaming our parents, our mothers, my generation's mothers, for the condition of us. I'm not really seeing a lot of solution. So now today are the men that are of dating age now are blaming women and saying, oh, we don't need to be married, and what do you need a woman for, and what do you bring to the table? Just a lot of questions. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be curious as to who you're going to be dating and what it is that, is going to be going on. But it just seemed like a lot of accusation and no accountability. These same men always talking about accountability, and they blaming women, saying that we don't take accountability. But I'm just like, but are y'all though? Like, can we both take accountability? Because in a relationship, it can't be one-sided. It can't just be one person's fault. When a woman chooses a man and the man is a deadbeat and the daddy don't help, men come back with, oh, well, you chose him. You chose to be in a relationship with him. And I'm not saying that that's not true. She did choose that man. But that man also chose that woman. So when men are coming back complaining about, she keeping my kid from me, she's a gold digger, she's this and that, and it's like, but you chose that woman. Perhaps we should all just slow down and take our time to get to know the person that we're dating. Maybe we should all take our time and slow down and find out what our own hurts and wounds are and heal those things. That way we can make better decisions so that we're not so accusatory. Because I was watching Kevin Samuels, and he was talking about mother-daughter relationships, which has also been a hot topic as of late. And they're talking about my generation's parents and how they raised us and how we have in turn turned out because of their parenting or lack thereof, because of the lack of a father, and all of these things. And now today's woman is too independent for today's man. Today's woman oftentimes say that they don't need a man, which I didn't know that. But being on these panels, I have learned that. And it's true, because besides watching the YouTubes and being on the panels, now in my daily life, since I work in a predominantly female career, I asked a lot, like, oh, do you need a man? Do you need a man? Just to see what they think about needing a man. And a lot of them say that they don't. However, I further question on why they feel like they don't need a man. And when I ask, I'm like, well, what would make you feel that way? And most of them feel that way because they haven't seen the type of relationship that they want modeled in front of them. The next thing is that men can't provide for them the way that they would want to be provided for. So they're having to go and do it for themselves. The other one is these men is HOEs. So I was like, okay. So it's not really that they feel like they don't need a man. It's that they haven't found a man that can meet their needs. Right? So I don't really think that modern women necessarily feel like they don't need men. They just need men that are better than the men that they are running across. But in watching the Kevin Samuels, he was talking about the mother-daughter relationship and how they raised us and blaming our mothers for how we are. And I'm like, okay, I can see how our mothers can influence us to feel a way. I feel like they were preparing us for what we were going to face, for what we could face, and they wanted us to turn out better. I don't know that better is necessarily to not have a man or to have a man, because having a man, I'm not going to say it's not important, because it is, because you want to have a family, you want to have a husband, you want to have children, you want to have somebody to have companionship with. But if the man is not, my bad, it was a call. But if that man is not able to do the things that you would require of a man, then is he worth having? Is he worth having just to say that you have a man? Because I wouldn't think so. And so blaming our mothers and the relationships that we have with our mothers for how we are, though it may have something to do with how we are, I just also feel like what men tend to do is praise our grandparents. Oh, well, these women today ain't like what our grandparents was like. Our grandparents cooked 3-4 meals a day. Our grandparents or grandmother did this, or our da-da-da-da-da. Well, that grandfather provided for that grandmother so that she didn't have to go to work, so that she could be at home and devoted to her family. And men today, when you bring that up, they're like, oh, but the cost of living is too high now, though. I'm not able to do that. So if you're not able to do what your grandfather did, you cannot expect your woman to be able to do what your grandmother did. 1. 2, while we praising these grandparents being married and all these things that we are missing in today's society, and we blaming those things on how come society is the way it is. Y'all do know that those grandparents raised our parents, right? That's where our parents came from. So if we're going to blame our parents for the way that we are today, then we need to go back a little bit further and blame our grandparents for the way our parents are. Majority of the time, our grandparents were married. The parents were in the same, and both of the parents were in the same house. So both of those parents raised our parents. But our parents still came out the way that they were. Why is that? I don't know, because people haven't done studies on it. But I would think it's because while y'all are so busy praising the grandmother for being at home and cooking and cleaning all day, their grandmother didn't feel fulfilled. That grandmother didn't feel appreciated. Because I'm sure, that y'all have heard a lot that women say that being a mother and a stay-at-home wife is a thankless job. Because, it's like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, it's a cool thing to do. But it's thankless. You're unappreciated sometimes. You're not thought of Sometimes you're the person that's so busy thinking of everyone else that no one thinks to think of you. And so back in the day, our grandmothers didn't have the opportunity that us women have today. So I don't really feel like our grandmothers were happy, because if they were, our parents would have turned out better, right? Our parents would have been better parents to us. Our parents would have valued and instilled value in marriage. That cycle would have continued had that been a conducive environment of a two-parent household. The reason I don't feel like it was a conducive household is, like I said, because our parents didn't put marriage in front of us as important. Because perhaps what they saw in that household with the two parents wasn't all that. I had a grandmother and she had a husband, and I would not at all want the relationship she had. Having a two-parent household is not always what's best. The relationship between the two people, what you model, what you show your kids is what's most important. So, since that grandmother wasn't happy, I feel like she raised her daughter to be independent. We saying that it started with our parents. I think it started back before then. Yep. I think it started with our grandparents. I think that the father, our grandfathers, was too busy out here working and hoeing around on our grandmothers. It left our grandmothers sad. And you know, when you're not the best version of yourself, you can't do an adequate job raising your kids. So that grandmother didn't have the opportunity that we have now as far as education and, you know, being independent or whatever. So she said, well, I ain't had that opportunity, but you do. So I want you to go out here. I want you to get an education and get a job and do a good job, you know, so that you're not stuck in a situation like I am. Our grandmothers, I feel, were stuck. I don't feel like they were there for love. They were there because they didn't have options. And so what changed when they had their kids and their kids grew up is we women had more option. And so marriage rates went down. Because now when I'm with you, you're not the only person that can work and make a good living. I can too. And now that I can too, when you out here doing just anything, I don't have to stay. I don't have to take the disrespect. I don't have to feel unloved or unappreciated. Am I going to be sad alone? Yes. But I will be just as sad or even sadder staying with you. Because staying with the person that treats you less than messes with your psyche, messes with your self-esteem, messes with your self-worth. I would rather be alone than have to deal with somebody who can't pour into me and lift me up and help my light shine. So, I just wanted to come and say, are modern women really that bad? Or is it just that these men is too busy blaming and pointing a finger instead of looking in the mirror at themselves? We women have to go out here and work because we have the children. So we have to be able to provide because the man is not there for whatever reason. Because we pushed you away, because you ran away. Whatever the point is, you're not there. So we have to step up. So we have to get these careers. We have to get these educations. We have to push forward. But y'all men, if y'all not there with y'all family, what's your excuse for not furthering yourself? Why haven't you done more to come back better and stronger so that we modern women have an option? What's going on? I think that instead of blaming us for everything, be the leaders that you're supposed to be. And before pointing at the woman for your condition, look at your own self and look at your own condition and better that. After you better that, then go back and find someone. Perhaps now with a better mind and being at a better level, you can choose a better woman. so that you can have a better outcome, so that your children can have a better outcome. That's the only way that this cycle will stop, is we all need to look at ourselves. Okay? Men, get yourself together so that you can be a better provider. Okay? Don't be so quick to come out here and be jumping in some without thinking about what you're jumping in, and then creating life with someone that's bitter and broken. Go out here and get yourself together so that when you choose somebody, you're not choosing anything. You have options. You can choose the cream of the crop. Quit praising these HOEs out here shaking their butts everywhere, choosing them, having babies with them, and then expecting them to be something different than what they were when you met them. Let's all look at ourselves. And then we can come back and have a conversation. Let's stop praising our grandparents when our grandparents is who made our parents that made us. Okay? Because things don't just happen. Something happened to our parents, because our parents are people. And if we're going to look at how they raised us as a causality of how we're raising our kids and how we are, then we also have to think about and look at how they were raised and who raised them to make them the way that they are, to raise us the way they raised us. So if that made sense, which I hope it did, then maybe we can come back better with better discussion and better solution and less blaming, because blaming gets us nowhere. So y'all have a good day. Peace out.